It's Thursday, February 28th. The morning after the Indian Air Force struck the biggest terror training camp of the Jaish-e-Mohammed inside Pakistan came multiple reports of air skirmishes along the line of control. The Pakistani military and political establishment made certain claims. Then came news that the Director General of Civil Aviation has issued alerts shutting down operations for commercial flights at 8 airports. The notice was subsequently withdrawn. India then confirmed it had shot down a Pakistani Air Force fighter jet after Pakistan targeted military installations on India's side. In this engagement, an Air Force pilot went missing. Pakistan claims he is in their custody.
India had informed about counter-terrorism action it took yesterday against a terrorist training camp of Jaish-e-Mohammed in Pakistan, based on credible evidence that Jaish-e-Mohammed intended to launch more attacks. Against this counter-terrorism action, Pakistan has responded this morning by using its Air Force to target military installations on the Indian side. Due to our high state of readiness and alertness, Pakistan's attempts were foiled successfully. The Pakistan Air Force was detected and the Indian Air Force responded instantly. In that aerial engagement, one Pakistan Air Force fighter aircraft was shot down by a MiG-21 Bison of the Indian Air Force. The Pakistani aircraft was seen by ground forces falling from the sky on the Pakistan side. In this engagement, we have unfortunately lost one MiG-21. The pilot is missing in action. Pakistan has claimed that he is in their custody. We are ascertaining the facts.
The Ministry of External Affairs spokesperson did not take any questions from the media. Reports through the day have identified the missing pilot as Indian Air Force Wing Commander Abhinandan Vardhaman. Earlier in the day, the Pakistan Army tweeted a video in which an Indian Air Force pilot is seen identifying himself as Wing Commander Abhinandan. The tweet was later deleted. The video, which Scroll cannot independently verify, suggests Wing Commander Abhinandan was beaten, reportedly by locals. If true, this would put Pakistan in violation of Article 13 of the Geneva Convention, which states that prisoners of war must at all times be protected, particularly against acts of violence or intimidation and against insults and public curiosity. Measures of reprisals against prisoners of war are prohibited. Early Wednesday evening, Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan offered to diffuse tensions by way of talks.
मेरा सवाल ये है हिंदुस्तान हुकूमत से कि क्या जो हथियार आपके पास हैं और हमारे पास हैं, क्या हम मिसकैलकुलेशन अफोर्ड कर सकते हैं? क्या हमें इस वक्त सोचना नहीं चाहिए कि ये अगर यहाँ से एस्केलेट होती है तो ये किधर जाएगी? ना मेरे कंट्रोल में होगी, ना नरेंद्र मोदी के कंट्रोल में होगी. इसलिए मैं फिर से आपको दावत देता हूं कि जब हम तैयार बैठे हैं, हमने आपको कहा कि जो आपकी पुलवामा की जो ट्रेजेडी हुई, उसके जो आपको जो दुख पहुंचा है, किसी किस्म का डायलॉग करना चाहते हैं दहशतगर्दी के ऊपर, हम तैयार हैं. लेकिन मैं फिर से आपको कहूंगा कि इस वक्त बेटर सेंस शुड प्रिवेल. हमें बैठ के बातचीत से अपने मसले हल करने चाहिए.
Meanwhile, the foreign ministers of India, Russia and China in a joint communique issued after the trilateral meeting said extremist groups must not be supported and used for political and geopolitical goals, and that those who back terrorism must be brought to justice. External Affairs Minister Swaraj called for global cooperation and a mechanism led by the United Nations to counter terrorism. Reiterating why India had to launch a preemptive strike in Balakot, Pakistan, the minister said India does not wish to see the situation escalate further. Swaraj's American counterpart Mike Pompeo had earlier on Wednesday in a statement said that he spoke to the Pakistani foreign minister to underscore the priority of de-escalating current tensions by avoiding military action and the urgency of Pakistan taking meaningful action against terrorist groups operating on its soil. He said he expressed to both ministers that the US encourages India and Pakistan to exercise restraint. The Election Commission has said it is monitoring developments in the country after the February 14 Pulwama terror attack and the Indian Air Force's pre-dawn strike on terror camps in Pakistan on Tuesday. Responding to a question on whether the Election Commission's schedule for the Lok Sabha elections due to be held over April and May would be affected by the developments in the wake of the airstrikes, Election Commissioner Ashok Lavasa said the poll panel is duty-bound to carry out the mandate given by the Constitution. It was earlier reported that the EC will announce poll dates in the first week of March, after which the Model Code of Conduct kicks in. The Supreme Court will today hear the centre's plea seeking a stay on the eviction of over 1 million tribals and traditional forest dwellers as ordered by the Apex Court earlier this month. The Supreme Court order had come on petitions challenging the validity of the Forest Rights Act. The petitioners had demanded that those whose claims over traditional forest lands are rejected under the law should be evicted. The central government had come in for much criticism following the Supreme Court order. The Campaign for Survival and Dignity, a group of several Adivasi and forest dwellers movements, allege that the centre's lawyer was missing from the hearing on that day. In fact, some opposition parties and organizations working for Adivasi and forest dwellers' rights had earlier written to the tribal ministry asking whether it had been decided that this act should be sacrificed, perhaps to appease big corporates and other vested interests. Their concerns stemmed from what they said was the centre's cavalier attitude to defending the landmark Forest Rights Act in court cases. Last week, Congress President Rahul Gandhi had asked Chhattisgarh Chief Minister Bhupesh Baghel to file a review petition against the Supreme Court order. In order to preempt large-scale evictions, it would be expedient to file a review petition and take any other action as deemed fit by the Chief Minister, Gandhi had written. He had cited a status report of the Ministry of Tribal Affairs on the implementation of the Forest Rights Act, which highlighted that less than 45% of the individual forest rights and 50% of the community forest rights claims were approved as on April in 2018, and that the Ministry of Tribal Affairs has pointed out that forest staff often raised frivolous objections, leading to rejection. A day after Bureaucrat Ashish Joshi complained to the Delhi Police Commissioner about a highly incendiary video posted by former Aam Aadmi Party leader Kapil Mishra, the Department of Telecommunications has suspended the official and started disciplinary proceedings against him. Joshi, who works as the controller of communications account in Dehradun, had written a letter to the Delhi Police Commissioner Amulya Patnaik complaining about, quote, a highly incendiary video shared by the Delhi MLA on Twitter. In the poem uploaded on February 24th, Mishra declared, quote, we will wage a war against traitors, adding that they would be dragged out of their homes and onto the streets. The poem made references to journalist Barkha Dutt, activist Kavita Krishna and Shaila Rashid, politician Navjot Singh Sidhu and actor Nasiruddin Shah. On Monday, Joshi told the Hindustan Times, I do not know most of the people the person has named in the video. I have filed a complaint in public interest. It is shocking when a person incites violence by asking people to come forward and drag people out of their homes. Do you remember the last time you used the word awesome in shouty capitals? Well, the President of the United States does it all the time. Donald Trump, who was in Hanoi, Vietnam for a second meeting with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, ahead of their first meeting yesterday, called North Korea's potential awesome, saying that Vietnam is thriving like few places on earth. North Korea would be the same and very quickly if it would denuclearize. Remember, this is the same Vietnam that the US invaded in the 70s, allegedly to control communist forces, leading to the death of close to 3 million people and the almost complete destruction and division of the South Asian country. Moving on, Trump and Kim's meeting is a follow-up to their Singapore summit in June last year, where Kim Jong, in a historic summit, agreed to the denuclearization of North Korea in exchange for the doing away of sanctions, even though Trump said after the meeting that the North Korean leader had, quote, written him beautiful letters and that they fell in love. The summit was widely not considered a massive success. For one, the countries failed to define the much thrown about term complete denuclearization, while the United States sees it as a complete, verifiable and irreversible end of North Korea's nuclear program. North Korea may have a much broader definition that includes the removal of nuclear-armed US troops from South Korea and the surrounding area, reported the Washington Post. Meanwhile, back in Washington, Trump's former lawyer and fixer Michael Cohen is set to speak before a Congress committee, his first public hearing, where he will reportedly call Trump, quote, a racist, cheat and con man, and make explosive revelations about the Trump presidential campaign. That's it for today. We'll be back tomorrow. Love your morning fix? Help support our journalism. Subscribe to Scroll Plus using the link in the description.